Something really weird happens when two people get to share a car journey. You get relaxed, you start saying things about yourself.
Afterwards, they'll be like, do you want to take the makeup off? Like,
No,
leave it on all day.
I'm using the power of persuasion from cars like this one to get people you know and love to tell some of their deepest and darkest, and I cannot wait to do it. And you get to see it all. Yeah, I can't believe it either. Now, part of the reason that I'm in what feels like a Ford Transit van at the minute, because I'm so high up, is because I'm in one of the sexiest 4x4s out there. I'm in a Land Rover Defender, and I've never driven one of these cars before. And it's kind of appropriate for today because this is the person who I'm going to meet's favorite car. And when you find out who that person is, you'll totally understand why. Because, I mean, it's tough. It's definitely used all over the world. Excuse me, humps, welcome to London. And I think this man has probably driven one of these in terrain appropriate conditions. So I'm on my way to go meet Jason Fox now, and I'm kind of excited. You know, he's a really interesting guy. He's been all over the world, done some pretty challenging things, and well, this is his dream car. This is a car that he's chosen and a car that he absolutely loves. So hopefully I'm going to keep him sweet because he's a big fella. I don't want no problems. Hello, mate.
Yeah, mate.
How you doing?
Foxy.
You all right?
Yeah, nice to meet you. Nice wheels.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the wheels that you've selected. You just pulled a face there which says to me that you know what this is like to drive.
Mate, the thing's, it's amazing off-road, but yeah, not great around London.
No? Oh, jeez. All right, let's get going, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jason, mate, thank you so much for doing this.
Mate, thanks for having me in.
And I want to thank you for letting me... Oh, that's the petrol light. Literally as we started. That's amazing. That's why you love this car so much.
The reason I picked is because it's played a key part in my life, in my career. It's like it is the vehicle of the British military.
Okay.
But I am aware that it's difficult to drive, especially when you're on the roads of London.
Yeah, stopping and starting in this big beast is one hell of a thing. So how often did you find yourself behind the wheel of this car in foreign territory?
A lot. This is the workhorse of the British military, the army, yeah.
You had to fish this out of like a mud pit at any point?
Yeah, mud, driven it through streams, lakes, sort of ponds.
Right.
Got it sort of stuck, but it's not very good at getting stuck. It's pretty good at getting out of trouble.
How's it going to be in the grimy streets of Regent's Park?
I reckon it'll be all right, as long as there's no like tight turns, because this thing's got the turning circle of an oil tank.
Hilarious. Have you ever driven a tank or anything?
I've driven armoured vehicles, you know, armoured personnel carriers, armoured Land Cruisers, so like the Toyota Land Cruiser, armoured ones of these. Yeah. These get armoured up.
Well, what was the difference between this and an armoured version?
The windows are thicker. The whole thing's a lot heavier. You've got to take into the weight.
Heavier than this?
Yeah.
Is that even possible?
It's like a few ton.
Whoa.
You've got, you know, you've got armoured doors, you've got armoured windows. Everything's heavier. You can fit, as you know. I mean, this rolls going around a corner, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, kind of. So stumbles.
Imagine it like 10 times more top heavy.
Man.
So you know, and it's got no pickup.
Yeah, at all.
But yeah, no, we drove some. You get to drive some quite cool, fast cars. And
how much of a reset has it been driving in big cities in the UK versus spending the best part of a decade driving in sandy conditions in places like Afghanistan?
It's madly different. You got, although it sounds bizarre, you know, you go away to places like Afghan or Iraq, wherever we've been operating over the last 15 years, and you'd think it would be restrictive because of the nature of what's going on over there, but actually you can go anywhere. You know, you're in the desert, you can drive, you know, in whatever direction you need to get a job done, or, you know, let's go and have a look over there, see what's going on. You know, you do that, whereas you come back here and I mean, I love driving. Yeah. I don't particularly like driving in London, in the heart of London. You know, once you get out, it's fine.
Well, we're in the heart of London right now, and this road seems pretty clear, doesn't it?
I know, yeah, you've just blown me out of the water there. This is Regent's Park, don't you know?
Yeah, exactly. I got my own internal sat nav on, getting us to the clearest roads. Do you ever have that thing where you're, you know, the pressure of being a guy behind the wheel means that you have to know the way? Are you one of those people that just knows every road in the city, or are you terrible?
I like to know the way.
Yeah.
I've got a stupidly weird fetish of loving maps. I'm happy to sit on the toilet and read a map.
That's a horrible visual. I did not need that today.
Sorry about that. I'm just telling you, I was trying to
paint a picture.
Let you understand how much I'm into maps.
Yeah, no kidding. Tell me about this book that you got, because you've written a book, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And it's your first one.
Yeah, it's my first one, properly my first one. Yeah.
So what are you covering? Is it your time in the forces or your time since leaving?
It's sort of like explaining the emotional side of war fighting and how that feels, or how it felt for me.
Yeah.
The smells, the sounds, the triggers, the emotional impact that extreme violence has on an individual, and then how you then transition from doing that on almost a daily basis into never doing it again, right, and wondering what your identity is after that.
So just how difficult did it get in terms of the things that you would experience?
I mean, it did. Fear-wise, the fear is always there.
Right.
It's a good thing, It's a control measure. Fear.
Fear
of dying, I suppose. Fear of getting blown up, shot. There is a fear, but it makes it, for me and for a lot of the guys I was serving with, it makes you switch on. But after a while, it becomes. I mean, I can remember. Let's talk about extreme fear and emotion. I mean, being sat on the back of a helicopter that's getting shot at, you can feel bullets hitting that helicopter as we're flying through the air. I could see the helicopter behind getting hit. You can feel the explosions of airburst rocket propelled grenades pushing the energy of the explosion, pushing the helicopter, sliding it through the air. And actually, on the occasion I'm thinking of now, I'm sat next to a friend of mine, and I thought I was squeezing my knees that hard that I was hurting myself, but I sort of let go, and the pain was still there. I looked down, and actually what happened was I had hold of his knees and he had hold of mine. In the confusion, we were squeezing. We had like this weird moment that was almost embarrassing. It was like, ugh! Yeah. And then sort of we were back in the moment, and fear creeps in again. I can vividly remember that because I was actually petrified, and I was a senior guy as well by that stage.
Did that fear change you?
I think it did, yeah. I think on that tour, that was during my last tour, and it did change me. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Right.
I have to ask about that moment when you found yourself back home, back in the real world, on your own terms, off the back of leaving the military.
Yeah.
What was it that you were actually dealing with, and how difficult was it to adjust to life outside the military when you left?
I actually got medically discharged for...
So it wasn't your choice?
No, I was diagnosed with PTSD and what they call chronic burnout. So I had, I suppose I was suffering from mental health issues. And
right.
I think to begin with, it was difficult to admit that, especially as I'd been a sort of a non-believer. I'd heard a lot of stories about soldiers claiming to have had PTSD off the back end of combat, and I was like, well, I'm what's considered a veteran. I've been on tours all over the globe and been involved in some hairy stuff, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
And then you sort of fast forward, say 6 months to 12 months towards the end of my career, and I'm eating the biggest slice of humble pie because I'm actually having to come to terms with the fact that I don't feel right.
Right.
So
can you describe that feeling? What was it that you didn't quite feel?
What it looked. I'd just done a tour of being away, gone away, war fighting.
Where in the world?
That was in Afghanistan. And I came back from that, and I'm getting ready to do another tour. And I would always look forward to it. It was, I was always keen. I felt belonging. I believed in what we were doing. And then all of a sudden, this tour is looming in the distance. It's sort of like 3 months away. We're doing all the training, the build up stuff to prepare ourselves to deploy. Which is, you do cool stuff, with skydiving, parachuting, all this sort of cool stuff that people think goes hand in hand with being a special forces soldier. And I remember just dreading it. I just saw it as a dark cloud in the distance. It was slowly moving towards me, and I didn't understand it. And I didn't want that feeling. At the time, I was a senior team leader in a squadron, which meant I was responsible for men. And I was having to dig deep to motivate myself, let alone them. And I thought, this isn't fair. So I thought, I'll go and see someone, they'll get it squared away, and I'll be back to normal. And that wasn't to be the case.
As men, why do you think we struggle to discuss our mental health?
I think it's been bred into us as blokes to just suck it up. you know, you're supposed to be the stronger person in certain situations. I mean, it's rife as well in, you know, in alpha male environments not to talk about. But the problem with that is it just bottles it up. And actually, the best thing that ever happened to me, for me anyway, in my individual little nightmare that was going on, it was about being honest and then actually talking about it. And actually, as soon as you start talking about it, you suddenly realise you're not actually on your own, and it is a normal thing to experience.
Yeah. How much has your life changed since you've become a civilian and then become Mr. TV man?
Yeah, it is slightly different. You know, I've still got really, really good friends that are still in the military, and we catch up and chat, and they're like, "Oh, what have you been doing now?" You know, and I'm like, I daren't tell him because I just get absolutely beasted.
All right, see, banter is one thing. But does anybody from your former life resent the life that you now have?
Not that I'm aware of. Everyone's super supportive. You know, me and a friend of mine, we co-founded an organisation now that helps primarily veterans, sometimes serving members, their families, their dependents, but also it's starting to branch out into other industries now as well. So, police, pro sports. You know, when people retire. Again, it's all about that loss of identity, or the feeling of a loss of identity.
Sure.
And helping people find what the next focus is.
Yeah.
So, because of that, they're glad that I've done, or I'm doing what I am doing at the moment, and a lot of them are on board with me, and they're just as influential in it as I am in that organisation. So,
well, it sounds like you're doing an amazing thing, man. I think you've got a lot to be proud of. Genuinely, I've really loved talking to you, man. And
likewise.
I'm fascinated by what it is that you're doing, because mental health is really important to me, and it seems as though you're actually coming good on helping others, which is a massive thing, you know. Let's just pull up over here. Thanks again.
Mate, I am mega sorry about the car. I felt it's not nostalgic though.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Listen, lovely meeting you, mate. Take it easy, bro.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye. So I really loved today's conversation because, well, I was talking to a man who wasn't scared to be really honest about his experiences. You know, this is a man who has essentially had 2 lives. He has experienced something really challenging, and as a result is using it to learn more about himself and essentially help other people, which I think is incredibly brave. You know, men don't really speak about the things that they find difficult. And when it comes to mental health, I am incredibly passionate about sharing some of the more difficult things, and as a result, potentially helping someone. And that really feels as though what Jason has been doing for a long time and hopefully will continue to do. And I just feel really chuffed that he decided to share as much as he did with me. The thing that I'm not glad about is that he's made me drive his quote unquote favorite car, which is one of the most difficult things to drive in the city. It's massive, it's slow, it's not automatic, but you know what? The conversation was so good, I'm gonna let you off, Foxy. It's weird for me calling him Foxy, but deal with it. Today's been a bit of fun, hasn't it? Well, next time, it's gonna be slightly different. Hopefully I won't be in a tank, because next time, I'm gonna be picking up and having a chat with the lovely Katie Piper. For more videos like the one you've just seen, do not forget to like, subscribe, tell a mate, send a carrier pigeon, whatever it takes, just make sure you come back.